On Wednesday, the government of Venezuela updated on the operation that dismantled a plan by far-right sectors of the opposition to boycott the regional and legislative elections of May 25th. In support of the popular consultation promoted by the government of Gustavo Petro, social sectors and political groups in Colombia are going on a 48-hour national strike. May 28th marks 600 days of the genocidal Israeli offensive against the Gaza Strip as the regime's bombardments, forced displacement and famine have decimated the Palestinian population. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. On Wednesday, the government of Venezuela updated on the operation that dismantled a plan by far-right sectors of the opposition to boycott the regional and legislative elections of past Sunday, May 25th. During a press conference, the Venezuelan Minister of Interior, Justice and Peace, Diosdado Cabello, stressed that the peaceful development of Sunday's polls was not by chance, as the Bolivarian government had ensured the calm by neutralizing several attempts planned by the extreme right-wing opposition. In this regard, Cabello unfolded that nearly 60 attacks on oil facilities were halted in the last 10 days, adding they also found and seized evidence of planned attacks on embassies and key institutions. In this context, the authority thanked the state security agencies and the officials who participated in the neutralization of these terrorist activities.
Para nosotros haber terminado
For us, to have ended the day of May 25th in peace, in tranquility, with no acts of violence, with no negative events of any kind generated by terrorist sectors of the Venezuelan opposition. In truth, it is not a fortuitous event. It was a coordinated action of the different state security agencies. Our Bolivarian armed forces, who we must acknowledge, have once again guaranteed the peace of Venezuelan men and women.
The sectorial vice president for politics, citizen security and peace, Diosdado Cabello, stated that the Venezuelan extreme right wing will not rest in continuing to exercise violence.
This does not mean, as we have been saying for quite some time, that the opposition is going to stop generating violence in Venezuela. No, that is their nature. The electoral results offered by the National Electoral Council, unobjectionable, do not give them much to do. They know that through the electoral route they do not have it easy. That is why they have sought the shortcut to violence, not once, not twice, not 3 times, they have always done it.
The Foreign Ministry of the Islamic Republic of Iran sent congratulations to the people and government of Venezuela after May 25th regional and legislative elections. Through a post on social media X, the Iranian authority expressed, "We congratulate the people and the Bolivarian government of Venezuela for holding the elections to the National Assembly, governorships and local legislative councils, which were held in a calm environment and with the presence of more than 1,400 international observers." Moreover, the Foreign Ministry highlighted that the people of Venezuela in these elections once again demonstrated their participation in determining their political destiny, and closed by wishing success and glory to the people of Venezuela and their elected representatives. The electoral campaign for judges, magistrates and ministers of the judiciary in Mexico ends to make way for the judicial elections next June 1st. The National Electoral Institute has described this election as historic, as it will be the first time that citizens will elect their judges directly. In the run-up to the election, the Electoral Authority urged the population to reflect on the importance of their vote. President Claudia Sheinbaum emphasized that the objective of the judicial elections is to promote social equality and eliminate corruption within the justice system. The Mexican president has declared that she will vote as soon as the polling centers open. In Suriname, after Sunday's general elections, 6 out of the nation's 7 political parties have signed a letter of intent to form a new government while the recounting of votes is still underway. More details in the following report.
Geerling Simons is one step closer to becoming the new president of Suriname after 6 of the 7 political parties that won seats in Sunday's elections signed a letter of intent late Tuesday. Simons is the chairman of the National Democratic Party, which, based on the preliminary count, won 18 seats, the largest bloc among the 7 parties that contested Sunday's elections. The NDP is the party of late former President Desi Bouterse, whose wife Ingrid, an NDP candidate in Sunday's elections, is widely expected to be a member of the new cabinet. All the parties went against the United Reformed Party VHP of outgoing President Chan Santoki, who will be allocated the second most seats after the NDP, suggesting that Suriname collectively voted for change. The leader of the National Party of Suriname, Gregory Roosland, is widely expected to become the vice president when the new coalition government is officially formed. Ballots from 16 polling stations are still being recounted, with the Electoral Bureau acknowledging Tuesday that there have been errors in the count. NDP had demanded answers about the delay in the count and suggested that the undercounting had denied it of more votes, which by its own projections would have allowed for an allocation of 1 more seat.
In support of the popular consultation promoted by the government of Gustavo Petro, social sectors and political groups in Colombia are going on a 48-hour national strike. The Unitary Workers Union has called for informative popular assemblies to be held in several municipalities starting at 8 a.m. local time. The union intends to promote the social reforms proposed by President Petro, raise awareness of the demands of the education and labor sectors. Colombia is currently engaged in a social debate on health system reforms and also new projects due to resistance from sectors that have managed Colombian finances for decades. The Pan American Health Organization raised the risk level for a major yellow fever outbreak in Latin American countries to high. Official figures revealed that between January and May 2025, 221 cases were confirmed, with a total of 89 deaths concentrated in Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. This record would have exceeded 8 times the statistics for the same period in 2024, when only 27 cases were reported. Yellow fever is currently present in 13 territories of the continent, including Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, and Colombia. And now we have a short break coming up, but first remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. Wednesday, May 28th, marks 600 days of the genocidal Israeli offensive against the Gaza Strip, during which the regime's bombardments, forced displacement and famine have decimated the Palestinian population. In this period, the Israeli occupation army has killed more than 54,000 people, mostly women and children, and wounded over 123,000, while health authorities warn the number of victims is much higher, with thousands of bodies still laying on the rubble. In addition, occupation, the Zionist army has abducted thousands of civilians and killed members of the press in an attempt to silence the extent of the genocide, while it systematically strikes refuge camps and hospitals, destroying the territory's infrastructure. Moreover, since March 2nd, the occupation has applied a policy of starvation against approximately 2.4 million Gazan citizens, closing the border crossings and halting the entry of humanitarian aid to the enclave. The Israeli regime approved the construction of 22 new illegal settlements in the occupied West Bank, despite the calls to stop its expansionist policy. According to Israeli media, the proposal approved on Tuesday was presented beforehand by the Israeli Minister of Military Affairs, Israel Katz, and the Minister of Finance, Bezalel Smotrich. The Palestinian presidency stated that the approval constitutes a dangerous escalation that drags the region into a cycle of violence and instability in their territory. The international community describes Israeli settlements in the West Bank as illegal because they are built in areas where the Geneva Conventions forbid construction in the occupied territories. In Yemen, authorities denounced a new attack by the Israeli army on the country's main airport. Yemeni authorities reported that Israeli forces also attacked and destroyed the last plane of the Yemeni Airways fleet operating at Sana'a International Airport. Moreover, they confirmed that two important ports of the country, Al Salif and Al Hudaida, located on the Red Sea, were attacked. On Wednesday, 4 children were injured after an abandoned mine exploded north of Damascus, Syria. Government authorities indicated that the device exploded in a residential area located in the province of Hama. After the explosion, the miners were transferred to the hospital to receive the necessary treatment and care. The Syrian Civil Defense warned that dozens of mines and ammunition continued to threaten the lives of the population. In early May, similar explosions occurred in the northern province of Idlib, where several children were killed and injured. Also in Syria, the Raqqa countryside in Syria has been the scene of violent clashes between pro-government forces and militants, resulting in numerous casualties. According to local sources, 8 people were killed and 20 more were wounded in clashes in the city of Suluk. The sources also revealed that an armed group attacked a general security force on the road to Aleppo International Airport near the city of Habrin. Earlier, 2 Syrian general security personnel were killed by tribal fighters following an explosion involving a landmine near Talul al-Safi in the Suwaidah desert. In Spain, at least 7 people died after a boat capsized in the port of La Restinga in El Hierro, the farthest south of the Canary Islands. The embarkation, which had about 150 people on board, capsized when it was approaching the dock to disembark its occupants, as confirmed by sources of maritime rescue. In the aftermath, the emergency services informed on the passing of at least 7 people, 4 adult women and 3 minors, while 2 adults remain in serious condition. In this context, the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez expressed through his social networks his solidarity with the victims, calling to rise to the occasion as a tragedy is a matter of humanity. The incident follows the shipwreck at the same location of a boat carrying at least 84 people on February 2025. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to From the South. Russian President Vladimir Putin meets with his Yemeni counterpart Rassad al-Alimi for bilateral talks at the Kremlin. In the context of the talks between Moscow and Sana'a, the Russian leader stated that relations between the two countries are long-standing and have always been friendly, with both countries interacting on the international stage. Putin highlighted that diplomatic relations with Yemen were established in 1928 and that the embassy is now resuming its work in his country. The Yemeni leader reaffirmed his commitment to developing the cooperation that has existed for almost a century and recalled the significant progress achieved in the development of relations between the two nations in recent years. The 13th international meeting of high-ranking officials responsible for security matters is being held in Russia on Wednesday with the participation of more than 125 delegations from 104 countries. During his welcoming address at the gathering, which will continue until May 29th, President Vladimir Putin stated that during the next few days, participants will be involved in an important discussion which will be devoted to the prospects for the creation of a new global security architecture. Likewise, Putin stressed that all states should receive firm warranties of their own security, but not at the expense of the security and interest of other countries. The Russian military has shot down almost 300 Ukrainian drones across several provinces in the country. The Russian Ministry of Defense reported that the downing of Ukrainian drones in 13 provinces had damaged residential buildings and temporarily suspended flights at airports. It also denounced the recent escalation of actions by Ukrainian forces against Russian facilities. Against this backdrop, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov warned that those responsible for attacks on Russian soil must be held accountable. At a symposium in Cape Town on Tuesday, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa denied allegations of white genocide in the nation, a conspiracy theory raised by President Donald Trump. During the meeting in the Oval Office, Trump accused South Africa of white genocide and of carrying out unjust land confiscations. He presented a video and a series of newspapers articles that he claimed proved his accusations. President Ramaphosa rejected these accusations, refuting the idea that South Africans flee their country due to racist political issues. After recounting the incident that the American media described as an ambush, Ramaphosa announced that the United States would be participating in the G20 summit in Johannesburg in November. While the United States government is maintaining global tariffs impositions, China is forcing ahead with its trade cooperation with European Union nations. According to local media reports, China's investment in the European Union increased by 47% in 2024, reaching approximately 10 million euros. Funding for new projects increased for the third consecutive year, with areas of focus including green energy cooperation, digital infrastructure, and smart manufacturing. Experts estimate that the Asian giant's investment in Europe could increase significantly in 2025 as bilateral ties may improve amid the substantial U.S. trade war. Brazil and China advanced their cooperation in space research through the exchange of knowledge, scientific data, and joint construction of satellites. According to the president of the Brazilian Space Agency, Marco Antonio Chamon, cooperation with China in the space area is fundamental for the development and future of Latin America. The president stated that the planned projects include the manufacture of and launch of satellites, as well as the construction of a large radio telescope in rural northeastern Brazil. Chamon also expressed that Brazil and China are good examples of the extent to which international cooperation can bring knowledge and technology to humanity. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net, and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok as well. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.